What's going on, guys? My name is Gregandcin, and it is the GOG or Chinese New Year sale. So this is pretty great. It says 500 deals. I've looked through almost all of those, and this ends on February 20th. There's a whole bunch of flash sales going on, and right now there's a giveaway for King of Fighters 2002, and that's only going to be available until the end of Wednesday, which is when this should be coming out. So I recommend you pick that up right away. All these flash sales that you are seeing will be gone by the time this goes up, so just check back if you're really into that kind of stuff. Some of it I'm not personally a big fan of, if you want to try and wait to get the best deal, maybe look out for that. Besides that, we have a whole bunch of great deals going on, as you can see in these highlights specifically, and I decided to go through all these deals. Let's just slow down a little bit, and I picked out some of the ones that I like. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, before I actually get onto the deals, I just want to remind you guys that GOG Connect is a thing. Log into your GOG account, link your Steam account, and any games that you own on Steam that are in this list will be added to your GOG account. So if you have, let's say, Mountain Blade or HuniePop, any of these games, they will be added to your GOG account. I believe I got two myself. So first off, we have Assassin's Creed Director Cut. This is only half off, but it's Assassin's Creed 1, and it's a very mixed game in my opinion. Well, I think the Assassin's Creed franchise has gotten a little off the beaten path. It's probably not as good as I think as it should be. I think just playing the first game will help you guys understand where the series was going and why a lot of people enjoyed it in the first place. Now, Assassin's Creed 2 is the better version. This game is a little bit more clunkier. There's not as much to find out in the world, and there is some bugs that might be game breaking. There might be some patches out on the internet to help you guys, so check out the PC Gaming Wiki for that. But other than that, I think this game is really mixed, but I think you should still play it if you want to understand why this franchise is just so big in the first place. Playing as an assassin in this ancient Jerusalem city is pretty fun. There's a lot of cool elements to the world, but I still think a lot of it is pretty stiff in movement and fighting, but the story is really what keeps me going with the Assassin's Creed franchise in the first place. For half off, maybe consider it. Next up, we have Cuphead. Now, of course, it's only $3 off, like it is in almost every sale it's available in, but I still think you should pick up this game right away. The art style is fantastic, the music's pretty great, and the OST is on sale as well. You can get that for just a little bit off if you just want to listen to the music if you already have the game. But other than that, I think this is probably one of the better platformers that have released recently. It is a little bit challenging for people who might not be used to a game that plays like Cuphead. There's a lot of these physical puzzles that you have to do with the environment, and overall I think it's just a really solid game. I don't think it's a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination, but it is probably one of the better games to have come out last year, and I still highly recommend it every time it comes on sale, and just grab it even if it's not on sale. It's just a really solid game. Next up, we have Dead Space, $5 DRM free, like every other game on here, and it's a fun game, I would say, if you're into survival horror, if you want to get the shit scared out of you. You play as this Isaac, dude, I can't remember his last name, I'm sorry. It's Isaac Clarke, it's right there in the About section, wow. But anyways, so you play as him, you go into this ship that has been absolutely demolished, I would say, like, something's wrong with it. You have to go there, you have to try and figure out what happened to this mining colony, why everybody kind of turned on each other, and there's these weird, creepy aliens that are just taking over everything. Well, some of the game does rely on some jump scares. I think that the enemies that you face are just really terrifying. They move in such weird ways. You have to cut off their limbs with this weird gun that you have, and there's a lot of decent fixes for this game on the PC Gaming Wiki. So if you feel like you're having any issues with this game, or you just want to make the game look better, I would also definitely recommend checking that out, as this game is a little bit older. Overall, I think this is a solid survival horror experience, and you will have a fun time if you're into that genre. It does take a little bit more twist. There is a little bit more action elements, I would say. There is some like leveling up you can do in the game with some of your gear, but it doesn't really take over too much of the experience. Overall, just pick it up. It's a decent survival horror game, even with some of the action-y elements that it has. Fortunately, we don't have any videos for this one, but this is Dungeon Keeper Gold. It's only $1.49, and this is a pretty great game. There is a fan mod for this game that gives it an HD uplift if you really just want to make this game look better, but I think this is a pretty cool game because you're the evil guy. You're maintaining your dungeon so the good guys don't come and steal all your gold. You're managing all your troops, like your goblins and everything, to make sure everything's all up in order. You're building traps, and sometimes you can control your goblins to mine things or go fight for you. Most of the time, a hands-off approach, just moving some people around and maintaining your dungeon, is usually how most people like to play this game. There's a lot of replayability for this game, and while it is a late 90s game, I still think it's a really solid game that you should pick up and at least get the HD experience if you want something that looks a little bit more modern, because I know some people just hate outdated visuals like this. If we can zoom in a little bit more, probably not. There we go. Look at that. Kind of ugly. Make it look pretty. And it's time for our first degenerate game. Today we have Hatoful Boyfriend, $2.49. We only have some screenshots, and I think that's all you really need for this game. Get to date birds in this weird high school. You're the only human. Look at that. Look at that cute little bird. That's your friend. He's a bird. You're the only human left. It seems in the whole world, maybe? I don't know. There's some weird endings to this game. A lot of the characters are just fun to talk to, even if they are birds. But you can make them look like humans if you're into that. But other than that, there's just a lot of weirdness going on in this game outside the fact that you're trying to talk and date birds. There's just a lot of creepy storylines and weird storylines, and sometimes things just don't make sense. It's only $2.49. Pick it up. You can play it on almost anything. It's a virtual novel, and if you just haven't heard about this game for some reason, check it out. Man, oh man, Hotline Miami, $2.49. It's not the cheapest I've seen this game, but it's a really solid game, especially for this price. It's a top-down shooter. You're kind of having to puzzle your way through some things because everything is a one-hit death to you. You're trying to go through all these houses with this like nice techno 80 chill vibe. These I don't know how to describe the music. I'm bad with genres, but this game's also really violent for something that's so pixelated. Creepy. You never know what's really happening. The story is there, but it's not at the same time. I can't really explain to this game because it is an acid trip happening in the 80s. The story's an acid trip. All the violence you're doing is probably drug induced. I don't know what's happening here. Look, that dude just puked. Mother Russia, I guess. Pick it up. It's $2.49. I'm sorry. This is the actual degenerate game. It's HuniePop. It's $2.49. You match 3. You try and date some girls. Try and get in bed with them. I mean, there's not much else I can really say about this game. It's kind of weird. Kind of creepy. Everything's legal though, so I guess this game has a reputation, I guess, and if you don't know what it is, stay away. If you know what you're getting yourself into, pick it up. It's $2.49. I definitely had a fun time. So let's get away from that degenerate stuff already. Talk about Mirror's Edge. It's $5, DRM free. This is a pretty cool game. You play as this girl whose name I can't remember because I'm bad with names when it comes to video games, and you're running around and jumping. It's a very cool parkour game. It's first person, so you might get a little bit motion sick if you're not into that, but this game is absolutely beautiful. There's some mods that might make it just run a little bit better, but everything is very fluid, besides some small parts in the game that have some gun sections because EA has to ruin things for us. This is a very solid platformer. You have to run around, jump. I mean, look at this. This is a very beautiful game. You can slide around, and I think this is probably one of the most solid games when it comes to movement outside some of the Prince of Persia games. You will feel absolutely like a god when you're traversing this environment. Everything feels like it should, in a sense. You feel like you can go from one place to another without anything's being in your way, except for some hard stops here and there. This is probably one of the best traversing games you'll ever play, I guess. One of the best movement systems I have ever personally played. I'd personally recommend playing a controller with this one as well. your mileage may vary. Other than that, pretty solid game. Mirror's Edge, and plus it has an Asian woman as protagonist. Who doesn't love women? I like women. This one's a little off the beaten path. I'll say that right up. This is Nox. You might not have heard of it. It's $1.49. Think of if you had Diablo-esque gameplay and a world, and a story that I just don't understand. And for some reason, this game still has a vibrant online community. Not like massive, but people are still into playing this game online. You get to choose your class, I guess. You have a whole bunch of abilities like these weird runes. I don't think it's as expansive as a Diablo game would be, but it's still a pretty fun experience if you're into those top-down isometric RPG games. I mean, you have this kind of loot system happening. Look what this dude you can barter with. At least I think that was a bartering system. I can't remember. But overall, I think this is just a solid game if you're looking for a Diablo-like experience. That's a little bit more old school, and if you're not into just absolutely min-maxing everything or trying to make everything overpower, I think this is a very casual game, at least compared to Diablos and Path of Exiles of the world. And it's only $1.49. I don't think you have much to lose with this one. Oh boy, I think this is a really good deal. 59 cents, Serious Sam the First Encounter, or if you're really feeling it, $1.79 if you get the second encounter as well. But I'm just going to recommend the first encounter because I think this is a really solid arena style FPS, I would say. If you like Doom 2016, as I always say with this game, you will like this game. There's this kind of like wave-based enemy system. There's lots of enemies that are varied. The environments are varied. This game challenges you in different ways. So you might handle enemies differently in one environment to the next. This game is very over the top. If you like the Duke Nukem-esque protagonist in Sam, you might like this game as well, just because it has that weird kind of humor. I believe there also is some co-op elements to it. I don't know about the multiplayer. I think the multiplayer is just very minimal in a sense, but it's only 59 cents. That's really cheap. If you have less than $1 to spare, it's a good price. Pick it up. Plus, you get the in-game soundtrack with the game. You can listen to all these sick tunes. Last but not least, I always recommend this game. Stardew Valley, $10. It's not the steepest this has ever been, but it's a very good game. The developer's really fucking great. He spent like so many years by himself just working on this game. If you're into what's the Nintendo franchise, Harvest Moon, if you're into that style of game, pick this one up. It's very similar to that. You get to get along with people, maybe date them. Who knows? I don't know if there's an actual marrying system in this game, a marriage system that you get to decorate your farm, you get to plant cool things. Look at that, new relationship options. There's a decent modding community over at the Nexus Mods and other sites, and there you can fight random slime monsters and stuff. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can do in this game. Solid game, $10. If you want to hear my thoughts, just look at all my other sales videos. It's probably in there as well. Well, that's it for this one. I don't think this sale has been as big as the past couple of sales that we've seen from GOG, but it is only the Chinese New Year one, so I think for a company that's based in like Poland or something like that, CD Projekt, I think this is a really decent sale. Lots of good games, even games that I didn't mention like Hellblade and Witcher, just because I haven't personally played those, but they're pretty good from what I've heard. There's a lot of other cool games like Divinity Ukulele, other stuff that I just haven't played but heard is really good. So just go through all the sales, your stuff. Remember, there's flash sales happening, so some games can be at an even steeper discount than usual, and there is that free game if you watch this video the day it comes out and maybe a little bit afterwards. Other than that, thanks for watching. My name's gregandcin. If you enjoyed any of the content, please hit that subscribe button. It'll be up in the corner, or you can watch one of the videos on the side. One will be one I recommend to you, one will be one YouTube recommends to you. Check out all the links down below for all the sales. Check out GOG, all the ones that I mentioned, and all my links so you can follow what I do on the internet. Leave a comment down below if there's anything that you think I missed, or if you disagree with any of the decisions that I chose. My name's gregandcin. I'm out.